I've lost my voice already. Day one. Not used to yelling at anybody.
Jason, what was the tenor of the first training session, and was it everything you expected it to be?
Yeah, super good. Obviously, a lot of new faces that are eager to be here and super excited to be a part of Orlando City Soccer Club, as are all of us. So really excited, enthusiastic day. And I couldn't be more pleased with the tempo of the session and the commitment that the guys showed from day one.
I'm sorry. What was? Is there resolve to the Kyle Larin situation, Jason? And if not, do you expect there to be within the next days or week or where?
Yeah, this is a situation that I lay no expectations on. Obviously, first and foremost, Kyle is a contracted Orlando City and Major League Soccer player. He was supposed to be here today, so whether or not there'll be repercussions for his not being here is a little bit above my pay grade. But we look at that situation and say he's an MLS player and he's an Orlando City player until we hear differently.
Has there been any contact with him at all throughout this whole saga?
No, none at all.
Obviously, a lot of new faces as well. I believe Mohamed Al-Munir is still not here. What's the status with him, and when should we probably see him in preseason camp?
As in the case for many of the international players that we bring in, we always run into one hiccup or another with the visa process. But he is expected actually this afternoon. Whether or not he'll be in training tomorrow or the next day, but in the short term, we expect him in any day.
When do you think you'll get Dom back, Coach?
I think Dom will be a player that we're looking to build up over the next 2 weeks. He will not be involved in the training this week. He should start to be involved in all the on-field stuff next week. And so we believe that by our second preseason game that he should be available for that.
Spending some time on the road later this week, what's your goal there and your thought process?
A number one goal is to get the guys to know each other. We have a lot of new players, and we would like them to all have a better understanding of who each other are. That's the number one goal. Number two, obviously, is to get the guys' fitness over the next week and a half, to get them away from any other outside influences so that we can spend time together, and to get to become, to get to put in place what it will mean from a culture perspective to be an Orlando City Soccer Club member, as well as from a soccer philosophy perspective about all of the principles of play we will be trying to implement this year.
Can you talk about the player Josue Colman?
Obviously, Josue is a big acquisition for us. We spent a lot of time in the recruitment phase of Josue. The coaching staff were extremely happy to have been able to add him, and we need to say a big thanks to our owner for putting forth the requisite resources necessary to sign a player like that.
Are you going to sign more players?
Yes, we will sign probably at least 2 more players. Hopefully should be in the next few days.
I don't want to jump in there, but I think I've seen Chris Schuler training with you guys.
Yeah.
Is he could possibly be the new player? I know you guys need a center back.
Yeah, obviously the coaching staff has a very high level of familiarity and comfort with Chris Schuler after working with him for several years in Real Salt Lake. But he's also a player that over the past 2 years or so has had quite a bit of injury issues, was released by Real Salt Lake, and so we are having him in to see what he looks like, both from a fitness and health perspective, but as well as how does he fit in our group.
Were you anxious for today, Coach?
Anxious, yes, absolutely. It's a very long off season for coaches in this league, especially when you don't reach your objective to make the playoffs. And so we've spent an inordinate amount of work as scouts in the off season, and we're tired of that. We prefer to be coaches.
It seems like these are some of the most changes since Orlando City has been in MLS. How challenging is it to get these new guys together? And
it's indescribable, to be honest with you, how difficult it is to acquire players outside of the league and inside of the league. Anytime you're dealing with a trade, these things typically take weeks to months to try to hammer out all the details that go into that. When you're talking about an international signing, you have all these regulations that you need to do from a league standpoint, and then you have to negotiate with the player, and then you have to negotiate with the club that he's leaving from. So extremely difficult. And before all that is all the scouting work that goes into each player that we bring in here, and part of that scouting work for us is to understand who the person is. So the personal conversations that we've had with these players has been extremely important, and we believe that we've brought in excellent soccer players and even better men.
How much
and
of
then
a
when they get here, just kind of the challenge of getting these guys to gel together as a
Yeah,
team.
I think we have a big challenge on our plate for sure. And as I said, that's going to be a big focus for us right away when we're in Jacksonville. Maybe, arguably, even more so than the soccer will be to get these players to understand who each other are and to gel and be willing to sacrifice for each other.
how much of a sign of a relief is it to finally get Dom Dwyer to sign a new contract as well? Obviously, his contract was going to be up this summer. You finally got that
Yeah.
over that lump already.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about all the things that we had to do in the off season and all the difficult work that we had to get through and all the negotiations and how long all those things take. Dom falls right into that category. That it was a difficult negotiation and a process that took us a long time. But in the end, I think both sides are very happy that, and particularly from our point of view, we've wrapped up a player for multi-years that we think will be a big piece of our team going forward. So we couldn't be happy with that situation as well.
Jason, there's a sense that the novelty of MLS is worn off here in Orlando. So with that in mind, how crucial is it for this side to make the MLS playoffs this year, and how much pressure are you feeling not only as a coach but as a franchise?
Yeah, I think from the club's chair, from the club's perspective, we see this as kind of the tipping point. We see this as the year that we've really got to make a big step forward. And that's why we've gone out and done some drastic things in the off-season. In the prior off-season, we thought that we were very close. We made very few changes to the players because we believed we just needed to tinker around the edges. We were wrong. We were wrong in the fact that we probably need to make more changes, and we were wrong in sort of looking at the rest of the Eastern Conference, because the Eastern Conference took 2 major steps forward and we only took 1 small one. And so that's why we've handled our business in the off-season differently this off-season. We've made major changes. We are making major changes to the culture inside our locker room in an effort to do everything that we can to drive this club forward, to compete consistently. For us, about making the playoffs is an objective that's way out here. Our objective is day to day. Let's get better. Let's improve.
Guys, let's take one more question so we can get everyone.
Coach, it's a good surprise. You start with the ball. You don't put emphasis in the physical. That's the way when you're working on it. Do you think that's the key?
I think a little bit of two things when I answer this question. For me, of course, the ball is the most important thing. And so I want our players to have the same sort of hunger that I do to dominate the ball. But from a second point of view, we've given all of our players a lot of off-season work, individual aerobic work, physical work. So we expect that they've done that work, and they're ready to start training with the ball.
Did you see that they were?
It looks like it. I'll give you more information tomorrow after our beep test.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.